Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, we've got a little animated flowchart for you today. We've got these little call to action modules here. When you hover over, a little arrow is going to appear pointing you to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And I've not got one on the end because it doesn't go anywhere. Really easy to do. We've got to do a bit of coding for this today, but don't let that put you off. Any code I write I'll put down below the video, and you're welcome to use it as you wish. I've actually got an automated version, and I've got a static version here too for anybody that might want to do one. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the Visual Builder. I'm going to go down, I'm going to create a new row, little green button to add a new row. I'm actually going to use 5 in mine. Obviously you use whatever amount works for you. And I'm going to pop in a call to action module. And this will work with any module you like. Okay, I'm just going to leave it right there for the moment. And I'm going to make my row full width. And I'm going to change the gutter width. The gutter width is the width in between the modules there. So it's slightly less than the default, which is 3. So let's go into our row, the green tab right here. First thing I want to do is go to Design, go to Sizing. I'm going to make it full width. So under Width, drag the slider up to 100%, copy the 100% and paste it in the max width down below, or you can type it in if you prefer. We've now got a full width row, which is what I want. I'm going to use custom gutter width, hit the little switch there. Now I'm going to flip mine from 3 to 2, which, like I say, just gives it a little less in the middle there. I'm also going to give it a bit of space either side. So I'm going to close up sizing, going to go into spacing, and I'm going to put 50 pixels left and right. Just put in the 50, it'll put in the pixels for you. Hit the chain, it'll do the opposite side. Great, so we've got our first little element there. Okay, well, the first thing I want to do is perhaps have a more interesting background color, but that's entirely up to you. So I'm going to go into the module itself. I'm going to go straight down to background. And let's make it the regular Divi blue there. And I'm going to click that, and I'm actually going to want to copy this color in a minute, because we'll use that in our CSS. So Control C to copy. Okay, well, let's add our little arrow on the side here. So to do that, we need to go into our custom CSS. Let's move this a bit closer so I can zoom in. I'm going to go to the Advanced tab, Custom CSS. I'm going to roll down to the after box. And now I'm going to start writing some code. I want it to display block so we can actually see something. Display, block. Then we've got to give it absolute positioning so it stays absolutely where it is. So we're going to say position, absolute. Now we've got to tell it that we're going to put some content in there. What we're actually going to do is make a little blue square and then flip it or rotate it so it's a triangle on one side. So I'm going to say content. I'm just going to open some single inverted commas to let it know we're going to add some content. Not sure what it is yet. Okay. Well, let's now build our triangle. We're actually building a square first, like I say. So I'm going to say height. Give it 40 pixels. And width-wise, you're not going to see anything for a little bit. I'll give it 40 pixels as well. Okay. And we want it on the right-hand side. So I'm going to say right, 0. I'll be right on this right hand side there. I'm going to pull it out a little bit when we've actually created it. And I want it halfway down. So I'm going to say top 50. 50%. There we go. Now, before we can actually see it, let's give it a background color. I'm going to make it red right now. And as you can see, it's appeared right there. There's a little red square right there. Couple of things. We're actually going to want it behind this in a minute, so I'm going to take that Z index down. And of course we're going to want it blue. I've just made it red so you can see it for the time being. So let's pop that in there. And The actual middle spot is actually on the top line of this right here. We know that's 40, so to make it really central, I want to bring it up by 20 pixels. So I'm going to say margin top minus 20 pixels. That's a great thing about margin. You can do negative values. So that should be right in the middle of our square right there. Fantastic. Okay, let's scoot it out by minus 20 so it's halfway hanging out of here. So I'm going to change that 0 to minus 20 or negative 20 pixels. There we go, it's kind of hanging over the edge there, which is great. Now we need to flip it around so it's more of a triangle shape. So for that I'm going to use transform rotate, colon, rotate, open and close some round brackets, no gap at the end of rotate there, and we want to rotate it by 45 degrees so it's a point on the right hand side. So I'm going to say 45 DEG for degrees, and there we are, we flipped it on its side now. Now what I got to do is paste that hex color for the blue in there. If I still have it on my clipboard, let's try that. Yep, there it is. Now we've got that little blue chevron right there, which is just exactly what we want. Now if you want a static version so it's there all the time, that's as far as you need to go. So let's pretend we're having a static version. I'm just going to copy this one. Now if you've got different amounts of text, one thing I might want to mention here, I've got similar amount of text in each of mine so they're all the same height. You might want to go in here if you've got different amounts of text, go to your design, go to sizing, and you can give it a fixed height if you want to so that they're all the same height. It'll look a lot better if you do that. I've got similar amounts of text in mind so they're all going to appear the same height. Okay. So anyway, let's just copy this one now. We'll say this is finished with a static little chevron there. So I'm going to hit the clone. I'm going to pull one of them across, doesn't matter which one because they're both exactly the same. We'll go in here. Obviously you want to change up your content. I'm just going to go into the background, change the background color to whatever color you want. Copy the hex code, and then you just need to change the code color in your CSS up here, custom CSS. There's our color. We'll just replace that. There we go. Now one other thing, if I change that back, Control Z, so it's a different color, we really don't want that on the top of our call to action module there. If that's the effect you want, that's fine, just leave it as it is. If you want to take it down, you can either bring the Z index of this up, or you can give this like a real low Z index. What a Z index is, it pulls elements in front or behind each other. Anything with a high Z index will be on top of anything with a low Z index. So let's go Z index. And let's give it, we'll try 0. That didn't work. Let's try -1. There we go, that popped it behind it. If you're having that problem, just add the Z index right there. And now we can change that color back to how it was. So if your little triangle's sitting on top and it's annoying you, use a Z index, make it a little negative number there. Or alternatively, you can give the actual module itself a higher number and you'd still be in the advanced. Just go down to position and you've got a Z index slider here for this one. See if I pull this up, makes that number bigger there, or you can just type in a number. Either ways will pull that little triangle to the back there. Okay, for the static, that's all you do, rinse and repeat as you go along. Now, as I say, if you've got different amounts of text, set your height that you want this before you actually do this so it keeps that central. So we're good to go there. Okay, let's get rid of this one. And we're going to go back in and I'll show you how to animate this one now. So we've got the little arrows that appear when we hover over it. So let's trash that one. And we're going to go back into this one. We're going to go into the code. Pull this back over here. And I don't want to see that little chevron until we hover over it. So what I'm going to do, position wise, I'm going to flip it back to where it was, right minus 20, I'm going to put that to 0. I'm just simply going to put a 0 in there. There it is. We've still got a little bit hanging out there, but that really is okay because I'm going to make it disappear anyway. If you want to get rid of that completely, let's make it, let's try a white 10. There we go, gone completely. And what I'm going to do is, after our transform rotate there, put a semicolon so we can add a new line of code. I'm going to say opacity 0. That will turn that little thing invisible. I know you can't see it. Then, this is common to most Divi modules. If you hover over the dark writing on any of these modules when you're in them, you'll see some icons appear. If there's an arrow there, you can set a hover state and a desktop state. Desktop's when your mouse is not on it. Hover is obviously when your mouse is on it. So when we hover on it, I want to bring it back. So I'm going to say opacity 1, which is fully visible, and you can increment up with opacity 0.1, 0.2, and have different variations of transparency. So it's going to bring it back when we hover over it. But we need to tell it that the right hand side was then negative 20 pixels, wasn't it? And as you can see, our little arrows appeared there again, which is great. Now the time it takes to get from no arrow to arrow is instant. I want to slow that down for a bit of drama. So I'm going to add one more line. And don't forget, this code will all be down below the video for anybody who wants to use it. And use transition duration. And I'm going to give it about half a second to slide across. So I'm going to say 0.5 s semicolon, and we should be good to go. So let's just save our changes, and I'll just do one more of these. We'll do exactly the same. We'll just clone this, drag it across. You might want to check this is working all well for you before you actually do your copies here. I'm going to go in. I'm simply going to change the background color. Obviously you might want to change your text and title. Take the hex code, back into your advanced tab, custom CSS, replace the color with your new color. And there we go, rinse and repeat for however many you want. Let's save our changes, make sure that this is going to work. Exit the visual builder. And let's go down, take a look. There's our little two new ones. When I roll over, that little chevron's going to hover out, pointing to the next one, and so on. So there you go, guys. There's how to add a little automated flowchart to your Divi site. Really easy to do. Don't forget that code will be down below for anybody who wants to use it. And easy static version also. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie with System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.